So last week, everything, besides being a slow process, seemingly more for you than for me, because my internet speeds are faster. We'll definitely need to dial it up a little bit when it comes to, getting things in and out, because it's if this is a regular weekly thing and it's taking us all week just to get the videos transferred to somebody else, that'd be a problem. Right now it's not a big deal because this is kind of the testing phase. But
all right. Well, for me, as you already know, it was a matter of finding a transport path to begin with. I was hoping that I could use cellular on one of my devices, but the lovely iPhone and its 100 megabyte cap killed me. The crazy slow speeds here at the house killed me. But I was able to mooch off of a relative here, not so much here in town, but there in town, that has decent internet, and it didn't take hardly any time to get it up at that point. So I'll do the same thing. I've already asked them if I could just park outside their house and look like a creep for a little bit.
Once a week.
Yeah. And send it up there. And so we'll go about that route, and it should be, or pulling it down, I can set the device to download overnight if I do it on my side. So if I download yours.
And I was thinking about that. The downside to you pulling it down, you pulling down my video, is you still have to then edit everything and then put it to YouTube or wherever it's going to go. So you're still having to upload something. And although our file, when it's all said and done, hopefully it will be small. I think the last file that you downloaded, while not 100% finished, it's pretty stinking close. And was it 200 megs, 300 megs?
I didn't even look.
Awesome. So
are you hearing those dings? I just got some messages, even though
I hear you.
Do not disturb is not.
I don't know if your microphone heard it, but I didn't hear it. So.
No, I'm just hearing it in my ear and seeing the whatever. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, and also, you paused it.
No, it's still going. Just keep going. Someone's trying to call me.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
On my side, of course, the recording looks like there's a bit of dust on the lens, but also I'm looking right below the lens because that's where the phone is right now, this FaceTime session. So that's going to be the entire time. I'm going to try to, whenever I talk to the camera so that it looks like I'm talking to you / the audience, but I'm probably going to fall back to old fashioned ways of looking at you. They're calling you back. Is that an emergency? Do you need to take that?
No, I'll answer them on this other device here.
Okay. That's funny. So yet again, more things that we need to iron out.
Well, yeah, they're not home, so I can't put a on air light anywhere in the house, something like that. But
is that who's calling you? One of them?
Yeah. Yes.
Family? Okay.
Yes.
So what can you do? Put on an auto responder that says, what is it? TOTP in progress.
Right. Oh, I need to do something like that. Whenever I press record, it automatically sends out a text blast to all the people that might text me. Oh, I did get that power dude, the ATK, whatever the name of that adapter is for the battery adapter. So It's solid. I see
the camera.
A power cord for the camera. Yes, I should probably talk in full ideas. So I see the power cord showing up on the computer screen, so it is recognized it well, and we shouldn't have any issues. Last week we didn't have issues, but we could have if we were in some deep topic and wanting to ramble for a while. But
yeah, we might have been right in the middle of some very important speak, and all of a sudden, poof.
Yeah.
Which I guess could be an entertaining first episode. I guess it also would be a good idea maybe to go through your equipment and my equipment in a recorded fashion. So that we know, kind of, we can go back and look if we ever upgrade in the future, but also anyone who's watching, they might have questions. And although I would say by far, this is not the most professional setup, I do have a 7-inch screen that I could be using. Matter of fact, I could even adapt this to VGA and kick it out to an external 19 or 20 inch monitor to be able to see things make sure I'm in focus because I'm not sure. This is I'll start with me since I'm still rambling. Recording with the G85 Panasonic Lumix G85 with the 14-140 lens. It's a 2x crop factor, so that means it's a 28-240 lens. So that's wrong. Well, if you know about photography, that's what that means. 35 millimeter equivalent. So yours is a 1.6x crop factor, being a T6i.
T6i.
Okay, so you'll get to that in a second. But so basically, my camera at its widest angle with this current lens is a little more narrow than the iPhone camera, because I think the iPhone camera is 24 millimeters. So this goes almost as wide as the iPhone camera, but it's got a crazy zoom, 240 millimeters. 280 millimeters. So that's pretty cool. A nice all-in-one lens. That's why I bought it, to be able to, family portraits or whatever, be able to go on vacation, zoom out, group shots, zoom in, landscapes / architecture, whatever. So, hopefully it'll work out.
So where it's at right now and where you're sitting, are you zoomed in? Is it pretty well where it's supposed to be, or how's it set up there?
Well, it depends on how nerdy you want me to answer that question.
Not very.
In a perfect world, we'd have this set to around 85 to 105 millimeters. It's not set at that right now. It's probably set at, I would guess, 30 to 40 millimeters, just because I need to be able to lean in and tap to focus and then lean back out. And that's one of the downsides of this camera. And a lot of the Micro Four Thirds, which is what this is, they use a contrast-based focusing system. And so I might be in focus right now. This will be in focus in a little bit and back to me. And it kind of dances every once in a while back and forth. So hopefully I'll stay in focus the whole time. I did sit right in the box, the focusing box. So hopefully that'll keep it nice and clear. Last time I was on manual focus. But again, the screen's so small, I really can't tell that I'm in focus. So I figured to this week, let's just see if the camera gets it right. And if it does, hey, there we go.
I was about to say you're in focus for me, but then again, I'm looking at something, either your iPad or your iPhone. I forgot. So it's not the same.
Yeah. If you're looking at that screen. Yeah. And right. I'm also recording at 4K right now. So
you're going to put me as a little tiny picture.
Yeah, you'll just be like sitting on my shoulder.
Yeah.
No, and what I did to edit the video, I guess I should finish the whole thing. Lumix G85, we've already moved on. That's how my brain works. Recording in 4K, using a borrowed SD card, because the one I want is $60 and I don't want to spend that much yet.
So you want the big one?
It's only 64 gigs, but it's the really fast one. That's the key. So this one is pretty fast, but not as fast as the one I want to buy. So this is just a borrowed one. What?
Why do you need it so fast?
For the 4K.
Right,
it's recording now
to the internet off of it. If it's recording it fine, then it seems to be sufficient. Wouldn't you say?
No, well, that's what I don't know. This is the first time I'm going to record anything at length at 4K.
Oh, you think it may get choppy over time?
It's possible. The camera heats up, starts to get a little slower, have drop frames. But again, that's something I don't know because I haven't done it. All of my tests so far, this card keeps up for a minute video, following the kids, following the dogs, whatever. But this is the first time it's going to be at length. And if this one works out, well, that's a good news for me. I can go out and buy this for $15. So that'd be great. But I'd like the fast one. It's more stable and same brand, SanDisk. It's just the right speeds specifically are made for 4K video. This one's just made for high def, but it's the higher end of that high def range. So that's probably why it's hopefully going to keep up. But I've got my microphone, which I think we've mentioned before, the Audio Technica something. We'll put it in the show notes. I've always wanted to say that.
Who's going to be doing those?
I don't know. I'm going to guess you. And
don't be 2 weeks late. I'll let you know.
That is that's using an XLR to 3.5 millimeter stereo plug, I guess is what it is, because it's the male side, because that's what the camera has. So, and it's actually the levels seem to be doing pretty good. I'll probably have to boost it just a little bit, but hopefully there's not any hiss or anything in the background. And also, any mouth noise, any breathing, hopefully that won't get translated in as well. Because that was actually pretty bad last time with the microphone right here. It just got all that. It was great.
And mine was probably a ton worse because
yours was disgusting.
On the microphone.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. But also, that's one thing that's nice about having it. The pop guard, and I don't have one of those fancy, pantyhose situations that go between the microphone and you.
A pop filter? I've got one of those, but I don't have it on. So.
Well, that's that. Yeah, this is the pop filter, but that's like I've seen 1,000 different names, but.
I've always seen it as a pop filter. This is I always think not a pop filter, but an air or something. Rather.
Oh,
wind thing, screen or whatever. I can't
Well,
remember.
no, okay. So there's 1,000 names for different things. But anyways, so then that's all that's happening there. I'm looking at you through my phone using video conferencing, FaceTime, and an extension cable with the earbud that you can clearly see hanging here. I was going to try the Bluetooth, but I forgot to charge it. Matter of fact, the light that's normally off on this side is currently sitting at my desk charging because I forgot to bring it in here. So there's that. But that's my setup. I'm on a inexpensive Manfrotto tripod that I got at Walmart. Normally $80. I got it for $20. And looking into replacing the head of it with a nice ball head that I can leave on the camera and has a quick release plate.
Don't they already have a ball head on them?
No, this one actually has kind of a pistol grip and then like a thumb screw thing, and which is great. I love it. But the way I have my camera strap set up, I put a little piece in between the body of the camera and my hot shoe, but that's causing the hot shoe to deform a little bit. It still clicks into the tripod, but it causes it to deform. Yeah, it's actually just like a picture hanger bracket. So it's a metal piece with holes in it. And then like a D-ring at the bottom. And so the hole that would normally be screwed into the wall, the 1/4-20 for the tripod mount's going through it. And
so it's to hold it. Is that what it's for?
No.
I'm trying to visualize in my head, but it's not.
Yeah, I have some in my bag right here, but they're all taped up with black gaffer's tape, so you can't see them. So instead of opening it, but imagine a D-ring. And then imagine let's just say 2-inch piece of flat metal, and it's folded around the D-ring so that the D-ring can swivel. And then there's a hole drilled in it to allow the 1/4-20 to go through. That's going into allowing the 1/4-20 of the hot shoe to go through the metal piece into the camera, sandwiching the metal piece between the camera and the hot shoe, and then the D-ring just hangs off to the side. That's where I have my strap. My neck strap hooked into, because I don't carry it around my neck. I actually carry it crossbody across my shoulder. So a little longer. It's homemade. It's all paracord, about 75 pounds. And
so you're talking about on your camera itself?
Yes.
I thought you were talking about on top of the tripod. I was like, what on earth is that for? I got you now.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to see if you might be too close to actually see it, but because the camera is right in front of the tripod, you might actually be able to see what I'm talking about.
But not everybody else.
Well, we'll deal with that later. No, barely.
I see the strap.
See it coming off the back there?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
I do.
So, and I'll put all those pieces up in the show notes as well, assuming that this gets uploaded. But this is not a finished product. This is a Gen 1 of me trying to envision how I do it. Basically, I'm being cheap. They make things that already do what I want it to do, but they're $60, and I already have the tripod. I already had the paracord, so I bought a bag of 20 of these little clips. I only needed 4. And then I went to Lowe's and bought the little D-ring thing. It came in a box of 4. I only needed 1 of them, but that was only $2. So, I saved a couple dollars, and it almost doesn't look ghetto, which is kind of cool. Pretty nice.
From the angle that I saw, it looked all right. Looked fine.
Yeah. Well, you saw the front of it, all the ghettos in the back. But no, it'll be fine. And I've tested it. It hasn't swiveled. It hasn't even loosened in the week or so that it's been on there. But my main thing is I've got a few links of Amazon up with some. They're basically Manfrotto replacement heads that unfortunately I don't think will fit in here. But I'm going to try to rig something up to where it'll fit. But anyways, the long reason for all of that is I want to be able to take this tripod because it collapses really small with me to New York, and then just be able to just bam pop it on and off without having to either screw it on every single time or take my strap off every single time. So just quick release. That's the whole point. So that's the plan, and that's the equipment that I'm using today. And I'm sure that it will change on a week basis, at least for a while. I mean, if I'm on lunch right now at work, so I'm using one light from work. Everything else is mine. So if I'm at home or if I'm in somewhere else, so when we're on vacation, if I'm in the hotel or at a coffee shop, I've got a couple of portable stands. I think you've seen this before. This is the GorillaPod, Joby GorillaPod. The magnetic feet. And then, of course, a quick release on the top there.
How strong is the magnet? Will it actually hold something sideways?
It'll hold something sideways as long as it's light. It'll hold, like a small point and shoot. The light that I had last week set up facing me was actually on this, and it's light enough to where I could set it sideways.
Your phone light enough? I would imagine so. If you're saying point and shoot. Point and shoot should be heavier than the phone, right?
It depends. I have a Samsung point and shoot that might be for sale soon. It's actually heavier than the phone, and I have the 6 Plus. So, but anyways, the other thing I have is this little clampy device. I'm trying to show you, and I keep forgetting I'm actually recording over here. So, this is an Amazon find, Grytech, and it's just a little clamp meant to go in the car, but I use it with the GorillaPod. And then I wasn't ready for show and tell, so I didn't have everything out. But this is a little stand, little tripod stand that comes with the microphone. So I could always the microphone I'm using, because the microphone comes with this stand and the microphone arm mount and an XLR cable and a USB cable. So it actually comes with pretty much everything that you would need. I already had the tripod, the mic stand and arm. So, if I needed this, I could set this up on the table. I'd have to probably increase the gain quite a bit because that'll keep the microphone about 18 inches away from me. Right now, it's only about 2-3 inches away from me. So that'd be a problem, but, fix it later. But that's my away options. And then just deal with the lighting. This camera is actually pretty great, at least for my standards, pretty great for lighting. If you watch YouTube videos or read a lot of reviews, they complain that it's not as sensitive as others, and the Sony's better, which it is. But for my needs, it's pretty fantastic. So a friend of mine, he's a professional videographer, mainly doing weddings and elopements and things like that. But he uses the GX85. So that's basically the baby brother to this. It's the smaller body, pretty cool looking little camera. For his, kind of like the B-roll of his shoots, and it's virtually the same sensor. So I can't complain. It's for what I need. It's way more than I need, but that's why I wanted something that I can grow into, and maybe even later on, hopefully grow out of, but maybe not. These lenses are expensive. So I had to buy it separate from the body. So this whole setup here was, wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll be using my allowance for some time to pay for this. But anyways, so that's what I'm using. And you can see kind of reflecting in my glasses when I look up. I have bifocals because I'm old. And so I try not to look up because you get blurry when I do. But when I look up, you can see the light off to the side there that I just looked at because I'm brilliant. So anyways, What do you have over there?
Well, I don't know that I have the specifics that you do. I would need to gather up a list of the details, but as you've already mentioned, the T6i is the camera this is being recorded on. The lens is not, yes, 18 to 55 is what's on there right now. And I believe that is the kit lens, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what it comes with.
And it seems to be sufficient for the distance. I would rather, I think I've said this to you in the past, have the 50 on there, but that would put the camera back too far, and I don't have a USB cable long enough to reach the computer if I did that. You're seeing me on my 7 Plus on I just got it, and I thought that I had the package that it came in, and I do, but it's just a clear plastic package. But it's very similar to the clamp that you showed. Very similar. It's attached to a flexible arm that has a clamp on it that is merely clamped to the monitor mount. I have a separate monitor mount where I can swing the monitor out of the way. Separate monitor, not this one that shut off just a second ago.
Like an arm?
A desk arm. So it's swung out of the way right now. Next week, I'm thinking about having the camera instead of this way, basically here shooting this way. It's an idea. I haven't thought it through yet. But anyway, and having that turned on. Because I like the idea of kind of having this. You wouldn't necessarily be able to see this little table here, but just having that in front of me in the iPad Pro right here. Anyway, so I have that right there. That's what I replied to those who were calling me a minute ago on. Anyway, so that's what's attached to that. It's not super flexible. It says I have poor connection. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, your video dropped, but I can still. Can you hear me? Your video dropped, but I can hear you.
I'm pausing.
That's fine.
No, I'm not going to pause. You'll have to cut this out.
Can you hear me?
I'm going to text you.
Here we go. The glory of this type of connection.
I just sent you a text message. Not that that's going to do you any good.
Okay, I'm receiving a text message. Oh, I lost him. Okay, I just texted him. Can you hear me? And then the connection dropped. I heard it in the background. So we'll reconnect. Maybe we won't.
Failure. There it is.
There he is.
I kept recording. I don't know if you did or not.
Yeah, it's still recording in the background there. So what else you got?
I don't know where I was, but let's just say I was at the clampy things doing one of these.
You were in the clampy things, yeah.
I was talking about the clamp. It's got the flexible, it's pretty long, call it 27 inches. It's maybe 24 inches.
Wow.
But it's a pretty long one. But it's not as rigid as I would like. The last week I had the phone attached. This is screwed to just kind of a standard monitor. What do you call those things you put a monitor on?
Monitor stand? Monitor mount?
I'm recording all my stuff. Did you hear that in the background?
I heard something.
Yeah. You jump to the end here and start recording again. I think I did it. Yes. That's all backup audio anyway. So
okay, you're recording from the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, but I hit the space bar and on the keyboard and it paused Audacity. I'm trying to unscrew this thing. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't.
I see like the edge of something.
Yeah. This is great technology podcasting right here, buddy. Oh, it's going the wrong way. So this guy right here.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
This right here is actually made to screw into this. But whoever designed this either has horrible eyesight, because that's where that phone and this is super rigid. You can't really get it out of the way. So putting it on that probably came through awesome into the audio also. Mm-hmm. But this is what it was on last week. The purpose of me taking it out is this is rigid. I like this, but the hose or whatever you would refer to it as on the other one is too flexible, especially as at the length it is when you put the phone on there. Are you able to hear me again? It dropped. I'm going to keep talking about this and see if you came back. You're back.
Just keep going.
So when you put the phone on, not on this one, but on the other one, it just kind of slowly falls down. It does eventually get to a point where it apparently gains the strength to hold itself, and it keeps holding itself at that point. The secondary issue with that other clamp or arm, whatever it would be referred to as, is the actual clamp itself is not strong enough to hold very well. It's fine where it is on a side clamp, but if you clamped it straight on something, it'll just curve right off. So that's the end about the clamp, and whenever we regain connection again, that's just been lost.
No, I can see you now.
I'll talk about whatever else.
Can you not hear me? Wow, I can actually see him, and he drops connection.
I guess I'm bored.
You actually hung up on me. Could you not hear me? Because I could see you and hear you.
No, I could not. I could not see nor hear you unless you were not saying something. I don't know. Maybe you were just so enthralled by my discussions of clamps and.
You were talking. I didn't want to step on you.
I hung up because I didn't know you were there. So. Either way, so that's what I've got there. I've got these Sony headphones that I like a lot. I'm going to talk about them only because I like them. I've had these things for probably 10 plus years. They're the MDR V6. If you get the equivalent of these now, they're about $80 on Amazon or wherever you find these. But that's probably just because all over-ear headphones now are way overpriced. But these, when I bought them, were, I think they were still in that price range, in the $60, $70 range. I've had to replace the ear cups or whatever these dudes are called once because they just dried out over time. But this is not even a Sony branded fake leather here. These cushions, I just got them on Amazon, also like $4 or something like that. And they're
nice.
They're plenty. They are. I can tell that my ears do get a little toasty with these. The Sony ones were definitely a better product, but for $4, I'm not going to complain. So and they have a 10-foot cable. I don't obviously need that here at the desk, but this is what I wore last week, and I think they're great. Yeah. And I'm using a Behringer mixer to kind of put all this stuff in, get audio from this microphone into the camera. This microphone came with, they're back here. I could pull them out, but Rockstar or something like that. I found on Amazon just a kit, basically what would you call it? Someone that goes and speaks in public, apparently, that I'm not very good at.
Speaker?
PA system. There we go. PA.
Oh, like a DJ or something?
Well, if a DJ got this, he would be very low. Lowbrow.
Just like us right now, you got to start somewhere.
That's right. But anyway, it was sufficient for what it does. For the speakers, just to talk about those, on the back of one of the speakers, it has a little mini mixer in it, so you can play MP3 and all that mess through it. I've never done any of that. I've only come from this mixer into it from either my iPad or my computer. It does get a little rough when you get too loud, and especially if it's bassy. So they're not the best speakers in the world. But again, I think I paid maybe $200 for the two speakers, decent cable between them is a kit, and then the whole thing that got me talking about those is this microphone. Came with it. And it's actually a decent little microphone for what I've used it for, SLR. And this is actually a different XLR. You are correct. That up there is but this cable here is a 10-foot XLR cable. The one it came with, I think, was just a little 4 or 5 foot, or just something sufficient enough to get it to the back of the speaker there. The camera is running USB so that I can control it better into a 2011 MacBook Pro 13-inch that I've upgraded. At one point, I put a 240 gig SSD in it. Now it has a 480, I guess, is what's in there now.
Nice.
It's actually a little slower. So I thought the numbers on the box don't amount to what's actually coming through with this guy. It's not super duper slow. It's still faster than a spinning disc, obviously. But either way, the other side over here, I've got an HP desktop running Windows 10. So, not much you can say about that. And I was recording into Audacity. Nope, it says it's recording. Okay. It didn't look like it was, but it is. Recording into Audacity on here just as a backup audio from the camera. And we've been recording for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Downside, audio is recording. This camera will only record audio for 30 minutes at a time. So
really?
the camera has stopped recording. So this little
how long ago? Do you remember?
About a minute and a half. It records for 30 minutes. I've been recording audio for 31 minutes. So I'm going to click and we'll be out about 2 minutes of my video. But, that's...
So on your MacBook, I'll ask right now, we'll just have a black window for your side, I guess. Are you recording again?
It is recording again, yes.
Okay, so on your MacBook, when you're controlling the camera, can you actually see, is it sending video as well, or is it just information?
It's sending,
just changing settings.
It is sending my video. I've got a little image of myself, some other information that I've actually never messed with. I probably ought to go in there at one point. One thing I do know is I have not changed the white balance. This is a white wall. It is coming through as beige.
So do that before you send it to me, please. so that I don't have to.
Right. So, it was that week, last week as well. So you just
really?
Tell.
It looked okay.
Yeah, we just muted out.
Okay.
Beep out that I said it was beige. Say, change the text. There's technology for that, but it does actually say how much time. So I'm going to have something. I don't know, somewhere that has the big numbers on it to tell, so I can see easier. I mean, I can read that, but it's so small that it doesn't stand out.
Use your watch. Use the timer on your watch, and it'll tap you at like 28 minutes or something.
Not too shabby. I'll probably just think it's a spider and beat my watch out to death, but I'll try it anyway. But yeah, that's probably the best route from what I have in here.
You never use the timer?
I do all the time. But either way, at a time I'm thinking about it, like if I'm on stage or whatever. But this right here, I could put a big timer on there to blink. Those things that kind of flash to get me ready for it. Of course, what that would do would set up light on the side of my face probably, but
well. And then you can explain why there's light flashing on the side of your face.
Yes. Well, with the camera, I need to get that little box where I can record into the computer so we can get around that. Because we have talked
about... that's why I was asking if it has video. If it has video, are there other apps that can actually see it as a video source? Have you tried that yet?
There's nothing that's free, and that would be my preference. But there is supposed to be. I almost had the name just now, but I saw some online. Yes, there are, to answer your questions.
Because then you can, that if you can find some that are free. I mean, have you tried iMovie to see if it'll capture?
I have not, but it has to be able to see the camera. So that's what I've heard. I haven't tried this. I have not tried anything Premiere on here, iMovie on the MacBook, to see if it will see it as a camera input. I've heard that you have to have some other type of software to get it to recognize it, whether it's that HDMI box or the software that I've said with the USB.
Yeah, well, there is XSplit. A lot of YouTube gamers.
I actually downloaded it over here, but doesn't that require the... See, that's what I think that HDMI actually makes it the box set. The one you sent me a link, and there was another one that I've seen that's very similar. That acts kind of as a bridge from the camera to the computer. And the
yes
software,
and no.
Well, the software, and XSplit may do something similar to this other software, but the software acts like that and recognizes it as a USB camera, an HD USB camera. So I would.
Yeah, that's what the box does. The box basically converts it so that the Windows or Mac or Linux, depending on what you have, will see it as a USB 3.0 video source, a USB standard video source. And there's a name for that. I forget what it is. But it basically means that it's a standard across all USB cameras, as an example, so that when you plug it in, even if you don't want to download the bloated Logitech software or the Microsoft software or whatever type camera you might have, it'll at least work at the bare minimum by plugging it in. And that's what this little box does. And by little box, we of course mean the HDMI to USB. They make a 2.0 and a 3.0 box, and they're $60 to $400 depending on what quality level that you want to get.
Yeah, I haven't.
But if you have a software version,
I haven't seen them at $60. The software version was $30. I don't know that I've saved a link to it anywhere, but it's. I saw some folks on the internet's talking about it, and they seem to be pretty happy with it. That's a while ago, so whether or not the software is still out there and available, I don't know. But that's what I would try first, because that one was $30. Seemed to be pretty straightforward. I would almost prefer the box, although what I've heard about the box is it does get kind of hot. Not that I guess that should be an issue. Normally, it's a lot cooler where I'm at, because I've got a fan there and an air conditioner up there. And normally I've got a sweatshirt on when I'm here for any length of time at this desk. So the heat wouldn't really matter, but shouldn't really matter. But I would imagine things that get hot do not last very long, at least not from my experience on things.
I don't know. Maybe that just depends on which one you get. The one that we have, I've done a live stream all day long, 8 hours, and it was still working fine. The next week when we tried some stuff, it is not something. Matter of fact, it's been in my. Just trying to think where it is now. It's probably in my audio bag or box. I have a Pelican case off to the side here with the camera equipment and lights and microphones, and then I've got another box. It's basically a milk crate with hardwired microphones. They go into the wall. These other ones are battery powered. Then I've got looks like a toolbox, and inside there I've got XLR cables, standard audio cables of all thousands of different sorts and lengths, and then adapters as well. So it's in one of those boxes. I haven't used it in about a year. We bought it to, potentially some initiatives will be coming up, and we'd be able to use that and live stream some things. But
what do you guys live stream when you do it?
Right now, we actually haven't done anything. At least my department hasn't. Sometimes the schools do it when it comes to graduations. They're trying to do that with graduations. Sometimes the games get live streamed. Some other, I work for a school district. Some other school districts actually live stream their board meetings. We do not. So the audio transcripts are available. What's that?
BORED.
Yes.
Working out what that means. Boring. Never mind.
Well, I was like, he spelled board wrong. Then I realized what board you were spelling. And
gotcha.
I'm back with you. We're good.
You work for the school system, but not teaching. We would like to let people know that. Anyway.
Yeah. The teachers are required to know immediately which board you're talking about. Well, I think now would be a good time to end. We're getting close to 40 minutes, and I need to head back. And in your case, one thing I'd like to talk about next week is, the new iPhones, but also potentially, what upgrades might you have in mind? I've already got a list favorited list saved, whatever it is, in Amazon of some potential upgrades. Some regarding this podcast, but also others just because of my camera and other stuff that I want. So maybe we can talk about that next time. And I don't know, I might even go home for this and just try to my office at home, which I'm leaving there in December. So that would even not that last that long, but it'd be nice to get a home set up, kind of like you, to where most things can stay in place. All I'd have to do is then dock the camera, plug in the microphone, and be done with it. So
yeah. Do you feel like literally feel like trying this particular episode again? Because then I can get more specifics with the name of these things. Because I have thought about taking this monitor here. This is a 32-inch HD monitor because I'm blind. I'm not going 4K, and putting it behind me. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to switch to this view. Because I could take this thing and turn it here. And when you or I are talking about something, I can either use the iPad and use Apple TV and just shoot it back, or just have my keyboard there. It's a wireless keyboard and mouse, and just have it display behind me on that when we're talking about it. That way people can see what it is, or big text of what what it is we're talking about specifically. Be a little more organized about the products that we're talking about, especially when our setups, like you've already mentioned, and it may have been before we hit record, but the showing kind of not so much the setup overall, but the individual things, maybe the setup eventually, but I don't like the setup. It just looks kind of garbage from my vantage point, but that's just because.
But that's not what we see. So
right, I've got wires going everywhere because I haven't been able to get them organized. I haven't had time to get them organized. But either way, but I can pull the pieces out and record things individually. So that might resolve, if someone were to watch this and be like, what are these boneheads talking about? They didn't even say what it was. He said he's got a Behringer. Behringer what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it may not even be a Behringer. I know the microphone is Rockstar, so that is probably the Behringer. But
sure.
And I have, this is also Behringer. This is what is getting the audio from the mixer to the computer. So,
nice.
yeah, I did the same thing you did. Let me point it up there so the computer can see that.
Yeah.
And it probably didn't even focus on it because it was still boxed on my head.
Close enough.
Yeah. But either way, just to have a little more organized flow to the way this rolls, as well as the dropouts. But anyway, you got to get back from lunch. So,
yeah. And just regarding your question about redoing it, I don't think so. I think leaving this in, because hopefully if we still look like this a year from now, then we've learned nothing and we can really not help ourselves or anyone else. But if there's a change, a progression of how things are situated, how we look, maybe even we can talk about how long it takes to set things up and break down afterwards, because I do have to set up and break down every time. And I might even be losing this space to storage because of, we can't just, the stuff comes in and it needs a place to go. And sometimes it just sits in our way in the other room. So I have to, like I mentioned, pack it all up and put it down. It's only about a 10-minute process, but still that's 20 minutes when it's all said and done. And it is on my lunch hour. So there's, that's why, thus the 40 minutes, right? So I think let's leave this. And, if you do rejigger next week, well, that could be part of what we talk about and maybe try to make it brief. We might maybe set timers as to how long we talk about something. You probably remember the fact that I can ramble on about the same thing forever at minutia or about the minutia of things that no one cares about. So, having a time limit of how long I ramble on about something. For instance, the topic we're on right now.
Rambling on and on about how we have to stop at this particular time.
Yes, exactly. How long does it take you to stop a podcast? 20 minutes. Okay. Well, we did that last week too. The video is 12 minutes, but it was actually 15 minutes because we talked about stopping for about 4 minutes.
All right.
So, all right, we're going to end it here. This is where we're going to kill the video for this week. And then next week, possibly iPhone speak, more camera and audio speak, and, whatever else. Sound good?
Yep. Don't drop off yet,
okay.
though. But just stop recording.